Alright, so for this video, I decided I wanted to talk about my personal pro wrestling Mount Rushmore. I've heard people talk about this a lot over the years, and I saw a video, I think last week, of The Undertaker talking about what his is, and so I've been thinking about it, and actually this has pretty much always been my Mount Rushmore. And then the more I think about it, the more I'm like, yeah, this is it for me. And partially it's based on who I grew up watching and who my favorite wrestlers were, but also based on what they accomplished, name recognition and stuff like that. And when you think about it, there's four big names for me. And yes, The Undertaker is one of those four names. I grew up watching him. I was 3 when he started wrestling, and I remember his debut very well. And yeah, he's just like, for me, he's like the face of WWE. He was there throughout, all of their ups and downs, the whole Attitude Era, WCW coming in and kicking their butt, and he stayed. He's loyal. He was a great in-ring worker. I just love his the whole dead man character, especially when he was doing the Ministry of Darkness and he was sacrificing people. I really loved that. That stuff was pretty freaking cool. Again, he was undefeated at WrestleMania for over 20 years until he lost to Brock Lesnar, which I didn't care for at the time and still don't, especially now that we learned what Brock Lesnar's been up to over the years, and it's not good. And yeah, Bray Wyatt or Roman Reigns should have been the ones to end it, but whatever. Also, you think about when I was little, Hulkamania was like this whole big thing. So obviously Hulk Hogan's gonna be there. WWE back in the 80s got really, really big because Hulkamania, Hulk Hogan, he was just, and I was one of those little Hulkamaniacs that he always talked about. It was me. I love Hulk Hogan. Of course, I never really watched WCW, so I stopped paying attention to him then, and then it was all about other wrestlers, and this next guy definitely eventually I became a big fan of, and that's Stone Cold Steve Austin. In the whole Attitude Era, he was like the face of WWE for a while, and it's just Austin 316. I mean, you don't get any bigger than that. And so the fourth and final pro wrestler on this list, who was basically big in the South, while Hulk Hogan was like the big guy up north, you gotta talk about the 16-time World Heavyweight Champion, the Nature Boy Ric Flair. I mean, come on. He is the man. And, I watched him when he first came to WWE back in the 90s, and then, of course, he left. And he came back after WCW went out of business. And I just enjoyed watching him, when he came back to WWE. That's everything he did there was great too. And what else can you say about the Nature Boy? But anyway, there you have it. Those are my 4 on my personal Mount Rushmore of pro wrestling: Stone Cold Steve Austin, Hulk Hogan, Ric Flair, and The Undertaker. There you go. All right, that'll be the end of that. I would like to hear from all of you what your Mount Rushmore of pro wrestling would be down in the comments below, and I will talk to you all later.